What's up, this is MLB Talk 123. I'm going to be looking at the top 5 winners at the trade deadline, and part 1 is going to be 1 through 5, and part 2 will be 6 through 10. Number 1 is going to be very tough for me. I love the fact that the Texas Rangers were able to acquire 2 of the best relievers out there. Obviously, the relief market was pretty good this year, featuring guys like Mike Adams, Koji Ihara, Heath Bell, and company. And for the Rangers to get 2 of those guys, I think is pretty incredible. They have made their bullpen from a minus to a plus if Natali Feliz can still close out games, and I think he'll be fine. But if he does struggle, you have guys like Koji Ihara and Mike Adams who can close games if needed. But I think the move here really was made because these 2 guys are controlled through 2012. 2012, it might be a year where Natali Feliz can move to the rotation, and either they get a closer on the free agent market, or they have Mike Adams or Koji Ihara close. I could easily see that happening. Mike Adams closing games, Koji Ihara setting games up, and then they have all the other guys in the bullpen that can get the job done. But we'll have to see what happens in the offseason. But for this year, it's a great move for them. They had to give up some good prospects for him, but they did not have to give up 3 top prospects, which they probably would have had to give up for Bell. So at first, the asking price for Mike Adams was higher than Bell because Mike Adams was controlled through next year. But I guess, the Padres, okay, give me 2 great prospects for him, or very good prospects for him, and we'll give you Mike Adams. And that's what the Rangers did. The asking price was reported a few days earlier, but the Rangers finally decided to do it. And I think for them to get Koji Ihara and Mike Adams is huge. Rangers fans got to be excited about that. But, I'm going with a tie for this one. I'm going with the Indians. Maybe even, I'm going Indians and Rangers tied. I might regret that decision, actually. No, I'll stay Rangers at number 1, but Indians are very close number 2. The reason why I say that is because finally Indians showed that a team, with obviously not the hugest budget, the biggest budget, what was I saying? God. Okay, let me just start that one over. Number 2, the Cleveland Indians, not far behind the Texas Rangers, because in my opinion, I love what the Indians have done here. They proved that, you don't have to have the biggest budget to go out and make big deals. And they were very aggressive. I like the Indians' attitude here. They got Kosuke Fukudome. Obviously not a huge deal, a minor bat. I think he'll do pretty good as an Indian, but, pretty much exactly what they're expected. I don't think he'll, hit over 300 with them or anything. But, who knows? He might really like playing in Cleveland, and maybe he'll play better than he was at Cub. But the thing here is they didn't get that really impact right-handed bat that they really needed in the outfield. But if hopefully Shin-Soo Choo and Grady Sizemore can come back and play like they have before, and this team will be fine. This is a team that also has Michael Brantley on it. So, again, they have their 3 outfielders in place if Grady Sizemore and Shin-Soo Choo can come back and play good. That's a big it, though. That's why they got Kosuke Fukudome instead of getting a guy more like, I think, Ryan Ludwig, who would be more like taking the starting job from them. I think Kosuke Fukudome can start, but also, a good bat off the bench, add some depth to their outfield. But Ryan Ludwig, they seemed really close to a deal, and then all of a sudden they said the asking price was too high. But Ryan Ludwig, the Pirates got him for just like a player to be named later or something. If I remember that right, yeah. I think they just got him for a player to be named later. So I'm not exactly sure how that went down, but I love the move of the Indians getting Ubaldo Jimenez. They shocked the world getting Ubaldo Jimenez. They shocked me. I didn't know the Indians were on Ubaldo Jimenez. And if they mentioned the Indians were interested, they never made a big deal about them really pushing for Ubaldo Jimenez. If anyone was going to acquire Ubaldo Jimenez, I said it earlier for predictions, it was going to be the Yankees. And I'm not saying that because I'm not a Yankees fan. I'm saying that because the Yankees have needed better starters, and they needed to team up CC Sabathia with a guy like this, Ubaldo Jimenez. And he had a great team-friendly contract. I don't know why the Yankees wouldn't push for this guy. Obviously, it would take a lot to get them. The Indians took a huge chance being super aggressive, giving 2 of their top pitching prospects. Alex White seems like a really solid prospect. He seems like a guy who, at this point, is not going to disappoint too many people. But Pomeranz seems more projectable than Alex White, but he has more upside than Alex White. But Pomeranz is, he's only Class A, Double A. So this guy, things can happen. So that's why they're taking a chance. They're giving up 2 top pitching prospects. But if Ubaldo Jimenez pitches like he did last year, and maybe one of these guys don't pan out as good as they are supposed to, then this is a great move for the Indians. I like it either way, though. I love what the Indians did here. They got an ace for now to team up with Justin Masterson in the playoffs. They got to get that far, though. They have to beat the Tigers, and the Tigers are pretty hard to beat. They have a great offense. Their guys are getting healthy. They got Carlos Guillen back. Magler Ordonez healthy. That was pretty funny what they did yesterday, too, with Jared Weaver. But the Detroit also improved a lot, too. They got David Pauly and Doug Fister. A very solid starter and a very solid reliever. Both controlled beyond this year. The starter, they have a starting rotation. They have 4 of their 5 guys starting rotation controlled for the next few years, too, which is huge. But back to the Indians, great deal. Love it for them. They need to get to the playoffs. It's going to be very fun to watch the Indians battle Detroit. The Indians with their top 3 with, Carmona and Masterson and Ubaldo Jimenez now becoming their ace. Masterson and Ubaldo Jimenez. And Detroit with Verlander, Scherzer, Porcello, and company. So, I mean, this is a great deal for the Indians, and it gives them a real good chance to make it to the playoffs and to go far in the playoffs. Okay, number 3. Number 3, I got to go with the Phillies on this one. The Philadelphia Phillies are so aggressive. They go out and get one of the best bats on the market. And I feel like he was the best bat on the market because Hunter Pence is a guy who's batting over 300. Yes, he only has like 11 or some home runs this season. His slugging percentage is a little bit down. His on-base percentage is a little bit low. But his average on balls in play is like 360. And this is a guy who's hitting above 300 and team control for the next few years. So, for me, this is like the biggest guy on the market. Carlos Beltran, yeah, he's big, but he's, 2 months. It's a 2-month rental, and I love the move for the Giants, don't get me wrong, but I like this move a lot better for the Phillies. I think Hunter Pence fits very well in Philadelphia. He just adds that really high-energy play. He loves the game, and he looks like he's trying 100% every time. I've heard about umpires telling him, like, keep playing the game the way you are. There's not many people who play the game right like you do, So I think this is exactly what the Phillies needed, a player like that. He's gotten huge reception at home. Everyone loves him at this point in Philadelphia. It's great for Philadelphia to get a player like that. It's going to make them pretty much, I think this move brings them over the top, obviously, having an outfield. Raul Ibanez, I think he's going to heat up in the second half, as he usually does. Center field, you got Shane Victorino, and now you got Hunter Pence. And yes, you have Dominic Brown, too. So, I think they have a very good outfield now. They've definitely improved the outfield, getting Hunter Pence. That was one of the problems this year was their offense. Well, it's not really a problem anymore that they have Chase Utley, healthy Ryan Howard, and now you got Hunter Pence in that middle of the lineup. It's going to be very hard to beat the Phillies this year. Their pitching and their offense. Now, if they would have got a guy like Mike Adams, they would obviously be favorites for the World Series. And I think they pretty much already are favorites for the World Series, especially if Brad Lidge can pitch as well as he did a few years ago when they won the World Series. So, obviously, number 3, a huge deal there for the Phillies, getting Hunter Pence, very aggressive, as Ruben Amaro Jr. He is very aggressive. He does this every year. He gets a big name. Number 4, I'm going to have to go with the Atlanta Braves. I absolutely love the deal for the Braves. One of my favorite deals of the offseason. Any team would have been lucky to get him. Obviously, Cardinals, it would have been great to get a guy like this. But I kind of wish he played shortstop because, we haven't had a really good shortstop in a while. I like the move for Rafael Furcal, but it'd be so great to get a guy in his prime, stealing like 50-plus bases, 60-plus bases maybe. He already has 40 at this point. I love the deal for the Braves, though. They haven't had a really, just like a leadoff hitter in like 5 or 6 years, a prototypical one, as that's how the GM explained it. And I love it for the Braves. You got guys like Martin Prado. You have guys like Dan Uggla who's starting to heat up. Brian McCann on the DL when he comes back. Freddie Freeman could be a very good candidate for Rookie of the Year. I've always been a fan of Freddie Freeman. He's had a fantastic year for the Braves. He really has. 15 home runs, 60 RBIs. He's probably end up with 75, 80 RBIs and like 20 home runs. So he could be rookie of the year, unless Mike Stanton qualifies for a rookie. Then, but I'm not exactly sure if he does this year or not. He might have played enough games last year. I don't know. But the big deal here is the Braves have given them a chance. All NL East teams have really added some big bats this year. I like I like the Bourne move. And then also the West had some pretty good moves too. And then you look at everyone in the NL Central competing did something except for the Reds. So we had some really good moves throughout the National League. But Michael Bourne, I think, is a great deal. I think the Braves made the right moves waiting as they did. They were trying to get like every outfield bat on there. They're rumored. They wanted to make sure they at least walk away with an outfield bat. But I think they played it right. They waited and they waited to see what was really available and what the asking price would be for a guy like Michael Bourne. And a guy who can steal them down the stretch, like 20 more bases throughout the season. This guy has been hitting over 300. I think he's a little underrated because he's on the Houston Astros. But for them to get a guy like this is absolutely huge. To get a leadoff guy setting themselves up to score a ton of runs. They got a lineup with Chipper Jones, Freddie Freeman, Dan Uggla, Brian McCann. And this is a lineup who Martin Prado could be batting like 7th. That is a fantastic lineup. Whether he's batting 2nd or 7th, that's a fantastic lineup either way. You have a good lineup. And so, Michael Bourne, he's also won a Gold Glove. So, you got to remember, he has good defense. Great defense. He has a ton of speed out there in center field. He steals a lot of bases, and he has an average above 300. I love the steal for the Braves. Bravo to the Braves. And number 5. See, I'm looking at the deals that were made, and I'm trying to pick what I like. Oh, number 5, I got to go with the San Francisco Giants, number 5. I love the deal that the Giants made here. I love the Carlos Beltran deal, obviously, but I don't think he's going to be as good as people thought he would. Obviously, it's it's a deal that the Giants need to make at this point. I think it would have been a much better fit for them if they would have went for a guy like Hunter Pence, but they probably would have had to give up a ton of prospects for him. But I like the deal for the Giants, getting a guy like Carlos Beltran. He's batting, around 280, getting home runs, driving in a lot of runs. Put him in the middle of that lineup. This is a Giants team who has struggled so much to score runs. So I think to get a guy like Carlos Beltran is obviously huge for them. But a move that I love, absolutely love, is getting Orlando Cabrera. This is a guy who's a great clubhouse guy. He can play 2nd, shortstop, 3rd. A very versatile guy, can really help him out. Now, when Buster Posey was hurt, I think a lot of people questioned if the Giants could repeat. And then you see Lincecum struggled for a little bit, but he's back to his old self. And then Freddie Sanchez is hurt. This is a team that just has very bad luck with injuries, but seems to be able to overcome them. Mark DeRosa, when they got him, signed him to a 3-year deal. They needed him, to play every day. When they signed Miguel Tejada and lost Juan Uribe, they needed Tejada to play every day as their shortstop. And, it hasn't worked out for both of those guys. It hasn't worked out for Uribe. He's been hurt most of the season, and he's on a team that's not contending. And then it doesn't work out for Miguel Tejada because he's had, a season that he'd probably love to forget with the Giants. And I thought he would have a good year with the Giants. This is a guy who I wanted the Cardinals to sign, for God's sake. And, signing for the Giants seemed like a good move there, and didn't work out. But I do like the Jeff Kempinger move that the Giants did with Freddie Sanchez being hurt. Great move there. And I love this Orlando Cabrera move. I don't know why. I just love it. I think he's going to do really well for the Giants. I think he can bat 280 to 300 with the Giants in this 2 months here. I think he's going to be a big reason why the Giants can repeat here. Versatile guy, and I just have a good feeling about Orlando Cabrera, but also a big move with the Beltran, put him in the middle of the lineup, give the Giants that extra boost that they needed. They're last in NL with runs, and they've added Jeff Kempinger, Carlos Beltran, and now Orlando Cabrera right around the deadline. Great moves for the Giants. Really applaud the Giants for that. They're giving them a chance for a repeat there. And they got to really up the ante here because, you got teams right behind them that are really trying to get in the playoffs. You have the Arizona Diamondbacks improve on their 2 fronts, starting pitching and relief. But I love the move for the Giants. That's number 5. I'll make a video for 6 to 10, but that's top 5. You got the Rangers and the Indians, and then the Phillies and the Braves and the Giants. All right, thanks for watching the MLB Talk 1, 2, 3. Thanks.